I am Dr. M.K. Panda, consultant gastroenterologist, Aditya Birla Hospital, Pune, from Department of Gastroenterology and Hepatology. We are observing 19th April as a World Liver Day to increase the awareness about the liver disease in the general population and for the prevention of liver diseases and to increase the treatment modalities and increase the awareness for liver diseases in our society. So to broadly on this topic, we'll discuss about what is the cause of the liver disease, what are the symptoms of liver disease, what are the lifestyle modification and prevention, how can you prevent the liver disease in the future, and ultimately the liver related mortality in our society in our future.
Myself Dr. Prakash Balse, liver transplant surgeon, Aditya Birla Hospital. Today I am going to talk on liver anatomy and liver function. Liver is the largest organ of the body. Its weight is around 1.5 kilogram. Liver is situated in right upper quadrant of the body, where it is anteriorly covered by the rib cage and superiorly by the diaphragm. Liver has important function in the body. Liver maintains core body temperature. Liver maintains carbohydrate synthesis and storage. Liver maintains its body's lipid synthesis and storage. Liver gives cholesterol and bile secretion. Liver gives important protein production, protein synthesis. These are useful for the immunity and hormones. Liver maintains detoxifying function of the body. Liver has a storage role in the important vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, K, and enterohepatic circulation.
I am Dr. Prasad Bhate. I am a gastroenterologist at Aditya Birla Memorial Hospital, Pune. Today we are going to talk about how to keep your liver safe. Everything you eat or drink, including medicine, passes through liver. So I am going to talk about how to keep your liver safe. Diabetes and obesity are increasing at a rapid rate. Both of these conditions are associated with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. To prevent this disease, we need to do regular exercise and consume balanced diet. Secondly, alcohol is a known toxin to liver. At any cost, we should avoid excess alcohol consumption. Hepatitis A and hepatitis E are the diseases which are spread through fecal-oral route. So basically, they spread to contaminated water. Hygienic practices like washing hands and drinking filtered water is important. Hepatitis B and C spread through bodily fluids. They can spread through unsafe sexual practices, contaminated needles, contaminated blood transfusion, tattooing. We should avoid these things. There is an effective vaccine available against hepatitis B. Whoever is at high risk should get vaccinated. Some medicines are known toxin to liver. So whoever is consuming such medicines require frequent liver testing. I strongly advise against consuming any medicine without prescription of your doctor.
Myself Dr. Sharan Narute, liver transplant surgeon in Aditya Birla Memorial Hospital. We will talk about causes of liver failure. Most common cause nowadays being alcoholic hepatitis, which is secondary to substance abuse like alcohol. Other causes are hepatitis due to viral causes like hepatitis B virus, hepatitis C virus. Apart from this, there is one more upcoming cause called as NAFLD, that is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which can lead into NASH, that is non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. This can cause significant liver failure. Apart from this, there are other causes like autoimmune hepatitis, wherein immunity of host itself tries to kill its own cells. It is called as autoimmune hepatitis. Apart from this, there are other rare causes like primary sclerosing cholangitis, Wilson's disease, hemochromatosis, and biliary atresia. So these are the causes for liver failure.
So I'll talk about the symptoms and the signs about the liver disease. If you think about the symptoms, there are certain things which are early symptoms or late symptoms in a liver disease. Early symptoms, if you see most of the patients, around 70% of patients are asymptomatic. It means they do not have any symptoms of liver disease. So prioritize to this, and to increase the awareness, the early symptoms can be detected only by routine health screening. So at least do an health screening for liver function test at least once in a year to detect early symptoms of the liver disease. Those who develop early symptoms may be sometimes early fatigue, significant fatigue, generalized weakness or weight loss which cannot be explained by any other diseases. So these are the symptoms. When you find out, you should consult your liver specialist or a hepatologist. There are certain symptoms or signs which are late that you detect on yourself in a day-to-day practice. So what you see, if there is development of the jaundice, like there is yellow discoloration of eyes, or you develop swelling of the feet or swelling of the abdomen, which includes that there is accumulation of fluid in the abdomen, significant loss of appetite, weight loss, these are little bit of medium symptoms or late symptoms of liver disease. There are certain symptoms which are very late, which includes that you come to the hospital or sometimes you have a vomiting of blood, there are behavior alteration, the sleep pattern is altered, and significant like weight loss, weakness, and you have to be admitted to the hospital. So these are late symptoms or signs of liver disease. So the symptoms of liver disease are divided into early symptoms or late symptoms, but still I focus routine health screening and early detection of liver disease is best of our future to prevent further progression of the liver. The treatment of the liver disease, what we focus, there are two types of treatment. One is the medical management and another is a surgical treatment. I will focus on the medical management of part. So their treatments are divided according to the cause of the liver disease. If you think you are taking alcohol and the liver disease is due to alcohol, so priorities is to alcohol abstinence, stop the alcohol as early as possible. Second modalities of treatment which includes is the diet. Good nutrition and high protein diet, which we advise that 50 to 60 grams of high protein per day, it is a good for liver and further progression of the liver disease. The third dietary part which you can see that restriction of the salt. You should reduce the salt intake in your food. Third is the good physical activity or good exercise to increase the body mass and increase your muscle mass, which prevent further progression of the liver disease. Coming to the last part, which is the medical pharmacotherapy, which is divided depending on the cause of the liver disease. So if your liver disease is due to hepatitis like hepatitis B or hepatitis C, there are drugs are available which can cure hepatitis B and hepatitis C. For the management of the jaundice like yellow discoloration of eyes or swelling of the limbs, or for the prevention part, there are medications are available to control the jaundice and to reduce the swelling of the feet or the swelling of the abdomen. So you should consult to a hepatologist for proper management of this jaundice and the swelling of the limbs or ascites. There are certain part in the treatment which includes prevention, like these patients are high risk of developing vomiting of blood or behavior alteration. So you should advise to do an endoscopy in all patients of chronic liver disease to prevent vomiting of blood, and certain medications are advised for the further prevention. So my last word for the treatment part, still I focus good nutrition, low salt diet and a good lifestyle modification. You can prevent further progression of the liver disease, and whenever you found out a cause of the liver disease, try to treatment the cause of the liver disease rather than the overall treatment.
Role of transplantation in liver failure. When there is significant liver injury which is not functioning now to have day-to-day activity also, then patient may require change of liver, which is also called as liver transplantation. This liver transplantation is done when the regenerative capacity of liver has reduced significantly, so as no new generation of hepatocytes is possible and liver needs to be changed. Liver transplantation can be done in two different ways, that is living donor liver transplantation and deceased donor liver transplantation. Living donor liver transplantation is one wherein some of the family member donates part of his liver, whereas deceased donor liver transplantation is one where a brain dead patient donates entire liver to the patient. Both the types of transplant, that is living donor and deceased donor liver transplantation, have equally good outcome. We can expect somewhere around 90 to 95% of success rate in these transplantations.
I am Dr. Gajanan Vagolika. I am a senior consultant in the Department of Gastrointestinal Surgery at Aditya Birla Memorial Hospital. I am a gastrointestinal and a hepatobiliary surgeon. Coming to the lifestyle changes or the lifestyle modifications for ensuring a healthy liver. So a healthy lifestyle is paramount to ensure the health of a liver, which is one of the most important organs of our body. All what we eat, what we drink, in fact even the medicines which we consume, they ultimately enter the body via the liver. So it's important to eat right, drink right, and treat your liver with respect. As far as the lifestyle modifications or the lifestyle issues with respect to a healthy liver are concerned, it's pretty straightforward. It's common sense, it's not rocket science. So it essentially is avoiding all those things which can damage or injure your liver and indulging in all that which is good and healthy for your liver. So what should be avoided? Avoid gaining weight, avoid obesity, lose the extra kilos. What happens is that fat is injurious to the liver. The fat piles in the body, it also piles in the liver, causing a fatty liver. Not all fatty livers are serious, but in a subset of patients, this fat can damage the liver. It can behave like alcohol. In fact, medically we call it as non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, which can result in irreversible liver damage or liver cirrhosis and predispose to liver cancer. It's important that one keeps one's weight in check. What is an ideal weight? It is the ratio of our height and weight, what is known as BMI or body mass index. It would be a good idea for all of you to check your body mass index. A pretty straightforward calculation. It's weight in kg divided by height in meter square, and the BMI should be ideally less than 25. The other important thing for a liver is regular physical exercise. So indulge in any sort of physical exercise, anything which you like. It can be jogging, running, cycling, swimming, even brisk walking. So it has been shown that being active and regular physical exercise for even as less as 30 to 40 minutes a day goes a long way in ensuring not only the health of our body but also a healthy liver. That's not asking much, 2 to 3% of your time of the entire day. Coming to the diet, so it's important to avoid fatty foods, important to avoid too much of saturated fats, especially the trans fats, hydrogenated fats. So which are the foods which are rich in these ingredients which are toxic to the liver? So it's essentially fried food, too much of red meat, processed and canned food. So they are best avoided. What should we be eating? Fruits, vegetables, whole grain are good for the liver. Likewise, those of you who do take non-vegetarian food, seafood or fish is good for the liver, and white meat has to be consumed in moderation. For the diabetics, it's very important that you check your sugars regularly and maintain a good glycemic control, because it has been shown that there is an association between uncontrolled diabetes, poor control of sugars, obesity and fatty liver, and they are indirectly linked. So it's important for diabetics to ensure that they maintain a normal weight and have strict sugar control. The other important injurious agent for the liver, which you all are aware of, is alcohol, drinks. I really won't be going into the details of what is a safe limit of alcohol, should one be drinking. Suffice it to mention, alcohol is a poison for the liver, alcohol is injurious, so it's best to avoid alcohol, best to avoid drinks. Likewise, smoking. Smoking is also known to indirectly damage the liver. I won't be going into the mechanisms, but it potentiates liver damage by the other injurious agents, and smoking is to be avoided. Another important aspect which I would like to discuss is hepatitis B virus. Hepatitis B virus is a silent killer, and it's not uncommon for us in our clinical practice to see apparently healthy patients who had hepatitis B. They were not aware of that, and they presented with liver cancer or liver cirrhosis or end stage liver disease. So friends, I would suggest that it's important that all of us should be aware of our hepatitis B status. It's a fairly simple, straightforward blood test, what is known as hepatitis B surface antigen or Australia antigen. And those of you who are negative for hepatitis B virus should go to your physician and get yourself vaccinated. There is a vaccine available these days which will prevent this infection altogether. It is also important to not indulge in self-medication, to take any medicines only with proper medical advice. The liver is like a chemical factory. The majority of medicines which we take will be finally metabolized in the liver, and a few of these metabolites can be injurious to the liver and can damage the liver. It's especially important to stay away from over-the-counter medications, especially over-the-counter preparations like herbal potions which are given as health tonics, or some medicines for weight loss which when used unscrupulously can damage the liver. Eat healthy, exercise regularly, and those of you who are overweight, lose weight, shed the extra kilos. Depends the reserve capacity of the liver, almost 3 to 4 times of what we need. The problem, although, because of that is by the time the liver starts causing problems, a fair amount of liver damage has occurred. So it's important that one needs to seek medical attention at the right time. Especially diabetics and those who are overweight should be aware of the fact that there is an increased risk of damage to the liver, and they should do a regular liver checkup, maybe a sonography and a liver function test, and meeting the physician should suffice. Likewise, those of you who drink or who are regular members of the party circle, please be aware that alcohol can damage the liver, and it's important that you regularly get your liver checked. It's not uncommon to get a sonography done for a variety of reasons, and USG shows a fatty liver. It causes a fair amount of alarm and concern in the minds of the individual. Always better that all those who have a fatty liver should at least meet their gastroenterologist once and get their liver function tests, lipid profile, and HbA1c or glycosylated hemoglobin checked to ensure that all is well. Likewise, low platelets on a hemogram may be a sign of liver disease. Any LFT abnormalities are to be taken seriously, and you need to visit your gastroenterologist and seek attention. Those who have a past history of jaundice, when there is a family history of jaundice or a family history of hepatitis B or liver disease or liver cancer, it's always advisable that you meet your gastroenterologist or physician once and get the basic liver tests done. As I mentioned, because of immense reserve capacity, by the time problems pertaining to the liver start appearing, a fair amount of damage has been done. But it's important for us to be aware of some problems which may indicate liver disease. And what is that? High colored urine, excessive itch, loss of appetite, distension of the tummy, edema, that is swelling of the feet, and excessive fatigability. They may be manifestations of liver disease, and it's important that you meet your gastroenterologist to rule that out. Thank you.